recently watched a video comparing American culture to European culture. And it got me to thinking if I even understood myself, what the two are, what the two look like. A lot of people they were interviewing in the video had their own ideas of what they would define American culture to be and European culture. One of the things I noticed about people that spoke about American culture is a lot of them incorporated race into it. And I think I kind of feel differently about culture, especially where race plays a role into it. When I do put some thought into it and I do look into it, you'd be surprised. There is kind of a contrast between the two. There's some similarities and there are some differences. And there are a few things that both regions are known for culturally, but in completely different ways. I'm going to first talk about the American culture here, and then I'm going to talk about the European culture. But I want you to be aware that I'm not going to include much of the toxicity. I'm not going to get into the things that have embedded themselves into the cultures, either one, and kind of turn the culture into something different. I'm going to try to avoid a lot of the toxic stuff for this video. So the very first thing that came to mind for me when I thought about the American culture was entertainment, making it. One of the things I first noticed, even as a content creator, is this right here. In the States, lots of people want to be in the business, the entertainment business. They want to make it as an actor or a Broadway performer, or they want to be a singer or some other kind of musician. They want to be a dancer or something that is somewhere involved in those things. Making it in America is like one of the oldest things. People used to dream of getting to America just so they can make it. You know, it's the land of opportunity, the roads of gold, pathway to success, and the liberty to do it however you want to do it, as long as you get there. I don't see that so much in Europe. I don't hear about it so much in Europe. In fact, as a content creator, I'm hard pressed to even find people interested in that. So that's one of the hugest difference. And I guess that's mindset that I see between the American culture and the European culture. And people in America, in the States primarily, choose these things most of the time over regular careers, like normal careers. They'd much rather make it as an actor, singer, dancer, or in sports, which is the second cultural difference I see between America and Europe. Now, I know what Europeans are thinking. Hey, we got our sports, and I'll get to that. Hang on. So sports in the States can definitely be included in the first point that I brought up at the entertainment business and making it. When it comes to sports, America does it, and nobody else in the world does it this way and to these levels. You got baseball, basketball, football, soccer, golf, tennis, the list goes on. There's just mad sports that people can use their talents to make it and become successful, financially successful at least, in America. Even high school football is celebrated. People will use their Friday and Saturday nights to go watch high school football. And it's not even a question for them. It's just like, why wouldn't we go? And it gets as passionate as any other sport. College football, sports in general in college, but college football is the same way. There are people who spend 4+ years at a university, and during that time, they grow so emotionally attached to these teams and their school spirit and the things that they've done while they were young, and going to these games and having a ball, having a blast, cheering on their teams, winning, losing, going to championships and losing. It's just a very emotional, deeply embedded thing within a lot of people in the US. They really cherish their high school and college football. Now, the pros, everybody knows the pros. The pros are the pros, you know? And again, more passion. I myself am still a Los Angeles Rams fan. Go Rams. And being that I grew up in the States and I know this world, I can tell you firsthand, Americans are passionate about their sports. Sports is like religion, which takes me to my next point. Religion in American culture. Hold on, before you go off. I don't talk about religion or politics on this channel because I just choose not to taint it and disturb the flow that I have going on with this channel. I don't want to mess up the energy. I don't always roll with disclaimers, but because I don't want you to click off the video, I'm not coming off as disrespectful with what I'm about to say. It's an observation. In my humble opinion, You may disagree, and that's okay. This is just an observation. I grew up in the church, okay? I was raised on religion, so I'm not just looking at it on the outside. I grew up deeply enthralled in it. Everybody in my family was heavily into religion. I've seen it from that side, and now I see it from this side. That's all I'm gonna say about religion in America. So the last point that I think I see about American culture is American culture kind of has an ordered way of living. If you grew up in America, if you were raised in the States, you at some point seen or heard of this structure. You go to primary school, you go to high school, you go to college, you get a job, you get married, you get the white picket fence and the house with the 2 kids and the wheel swing, and you work until you die. Somewhere in there, you raise your kids so that they can go to college, find a job, get married, work until they die. Somewhere in there, they got their kids going to school, work, getting married, working until they die. The same process. Every Sunday you go to church, you take the kids to their practices. This has been the kind of structure that America has subtly made the way that things are supposed to go. For those that didn't want to follow that and maybe chose a different path, you're not living the way you're supposed to live. You're not doing life right. Say someone maybe falls homeless at some point, or maybe someone has children too early, didn't get to finish university, right? These are the people that are considered to be on the outside of what's expected from being enthralled into the American society. I don't really see that in Europe. But so now let's talk about the European culture. And this can be tricky because we have to keep in mind, Europe is 40 plus countries that speaks plus languages, and it's going to be difficult to streamline Europe as just a place, Europe, because there's just so much going on. But there are some things that Europe can be popular for or known for culturally as a whole. First thing I thought about was celebrations or parties. And again, though, many countries have different things going on, so it's hard to pinpoint one. Italy, Germany, France, Spain, the Netherlands, all these places have their different celebrations and parties that they come together and do for the whole country. Like the whole country is involved. Now, I know they do that in the States too. You got celebrations where the whole country is involved. The difference in parties and celebrations in the States and in Europe, and this is in my opinion, but I sometimes feel like parties and most celebrations in the States, most of them are done just to kind of fill some time or maybe create an opportunity to get some revenue, build some revenue, gain some revenue. Whereas in Europe, most of the celebrations are in and of themselves just part of the culture, and they hold a lot of emotional value for the people of the culture. And these things occur whether or not they're profitable. For the record, they are. And now, sports, the culture of sports in Europe. It's football. So whereas in America, where sports is a plethora of things and each sport is televised and it has finals and championships and they can take up a lot of airtime being broadcast, each and every one of them can. Football does that in Europe. And no Europeans are gonna be like, oh, we do have other sports. I know, I made a video about this. I didn't know that you can find basketball, hockey even. I really didn't know Germany had hockey. I didn't know it was here. But I don't think that it's given the kind of attention that sports like that is given in the States. It might be big to you guys, and I'm not taking that away from you. But in the States, these sports are big, like big. So the culture of sports between America and Europe is definitely different. Now, another quick return point, religion in Europe. So I haven't been involved in religious ceremonies or religious gatherings or going to church or anything like that in Europe. But from what I hear and what I see, I think religion here is more about not letting traditions die. I mean, they got to do something with these huge cathedrals and shit, right? So I will say from my experience, I don't see people that are as deeply emotionally dragged into religion as I do in the States. They might be. I haven't seen it. That's all I'm gonna say about religion in Europe. The last thing I thought to point out when talking about European culture is history. Europe is rich in history, and it's home to some of the oldest structures in the world. They work hard to preserve these buildings and statues and monuments and landmarks, and they do a great job doing so. Sometimes a cathedral or something is being worked on for years, and they're just trying to keep it structurally sound and keep it standing. And when most Americans think Europe, they typically think old world, and that's not usually something they gravitate towards, which is why when they do travel, when and if they do, they choose some of the more modernized locations. And I think that's all I had in my notes, except for dissecting the idea of freedom in America and freedom in Europe. But I'm not going to do that right here. I'm going to do it in another video. Thanks for watching this one, though. Do you disagree or do you agree with my list and points on the cultural differences and how vast and contrast they are to each other between America and Europe? What do you think? Let's talk about it. And I'll talk to you in the next video.